Hi, I'm Ron Guerin of the STS-124 crew, and you're watching NASA TV.
Good morning, Discovery, and a special good morning to you today, Ron.
Thank you, Shannon. It's another beautiful day in space, and it really is true that it's all because of you I am, and I want to thank my beautiful wife, Carmel, and my sons, Ronnie, Joseph, and Jake, for sending that song up, and we're ready to get to work.
And with that, Discovery's crew begins their final day of joint operations aboard the International Space Station. The hatches between the vehicles will be closed this afternoon, setting up for the shuttle's undocking and departure tomorrow morning. The wake-up call today was All Because of You by U2, and it was played for mission specialist Ron Guerin.
Discovery Commander Mark Kelly joining Hoshide and Nyberg in the early stages of hooking up backup drive system equipment for Kibo's electronics and its robotic arms operation, essentially a redundant set of equipment that will complete the initial internal outfitting of the new Japanese laboratory. While work begins for the day inside the Japanese Kibo laboratory, Shuttle Discovery currently conducting a SIMO waste and supply water dump out of its nozzles, thus correcting the ullage in the tanks for the undocking of Discovery tomorrow morning from the International Space Station. A good view of Aki Hoshide, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut working with Karen Nyberg as they continue to hook up a variety of cables and electronics for what is called the backup drive system, a redundant set of avionics and electronics to operate Kibo systems in the Japanese robotic arm and at the forward end cone of Kibo. This backup drive system setup will complete the internal outfitting of the module in the final hours of the joint docked operations between Discovery's astronauts and the International Space Station crew.
Space Station, this is NBC News, Washington calling. How do you copy?
We've got you loud and clear, and we're ready to talk to you.
Well, it's great to see you both, Dr. Garrett Reisman and also Dr. Gregory Shamatov. And Garrett, you have been on station since March. You're about to come home on Saturday. Tell me, what have you missed the most? What are you looking forward to?
Well, yesterday I answered this question by saying I miss most my wife, Simone Francis, and I talked to her last night on our IP telephone from up here, and she was furious with me for embarrassing her like that. But the truth is that when I look out the window at the planet and I look down at all the people down there, I'm usually just thinking about just one of all those billions of people, and that's definitely what I'm looking forward to seeing the most.
Greg, you're about to spend several months on station. How do you prepare for something like that?
Well, there's many years of training, of course, and now that it's a multinational station with a Japanese module, a European module, and of course U.S. and Russian modules, we have to travel different countries to train on all the different systems. But there are definitely aspects of this that the training really can only do so much to prepare you for. And so the last bit of training is actually from Garrett himself. He's been showing me the ropes on board, showing me day-to-day life on station, how to actually get things done, and where to find things. And he gave me his phone number. He's probably going to change his number after he gets down there, but anyway, it's been a really good time actually having him show me how to live up here.
Well, Garrett, since you're the one who's been on station the longest, what is it that many of us on Earth don't appreciate about the space station? When it's all done, it's going to be about the size of a 5-story house, we're told. But a lot of us may not appreciate how big it is, and what do you do to fill your days?
It's a good point. I think we need to do a better job of getting a message out about what life is really like up here, because it's absolutely spectacular. First of all, the station is enormous. It's really ready now for a 6-person crew. We have enough room to spare. The interior volume is a little bit bigger than a jumbo jet, so you can imagine how much space we have for what will be soon only 3 people. It's actually enough space that you can lose people. You can go from stem to stern and trying to find somebody and not find them. I mean, that's how big this place is. And it's incredibly complex, and there's so much equipment up here, and there's so much just tonnage of material. It is ready to be utilized, especially now with the addition of this huge Japanese laboratory. So it's great. Daily life, it's extremely busy, especially for me. My whole time up here has been action-packed. There hasn't been a dull moment at all, and so it's just a matter of operating this enormous space station. It really is something straight out of science fiction. And when you take a look around, it's just a really impressive that we pulled this off. And as far as how much incredible and what life is like up here, the best part about it is being able to fly around like a superhero, and I'll demonstrate that right now.
Well, while he demonstrates that, I'll tell you what, Gregory, can you talk to us about what are the biggest challenges, physical challenges, and changes you go through when you're on station for this long? Is it muscle coordination? Is it inner ear issues and balance issues? Is it just coordination? What changes physically for you?
Well, that's an interesting thing, because you just don't know until you actually launch and get up here what it's going to feel like, and so that was something that I really anticipated and wondered about. And at first, you're not too happy about how you feel, but it takes a couple of days. But actually, for me, after 24 hours, I felt great, and most of us did on the shuttle. And at that point, you're still in a small volume, and you're able to deal with different orientations, and then you come into this massive space station flying around, and very quickly, I felt great coming in here, and then very quickly, and I was warned about this, that the big volume and lots of different orientations where you're not only in one, in one structure in one area, but different facilities here go off in different directions. So you're constantly readjusting what's up and what's down. And the thing that I found really neat about this was after a few days, all of a sudden your brain figures out how to do that, and you can just all of a sudden snap to a new orientation. Okay, this is down, and then it's okay, and then you turn over, and now this is down, and that's okay. And so that adaptation happens really fast. It's really amazing that we can do that. The adaptation going back to Earth for Garrett actually is probably going to be harder than the adaptation coming up here. But you mentioned the long-term effects too, and and that is one thing we're studying very seriously here on the station. That is, how can we live in this environment for a very long time and and thrive and work productively in it. And the thing that the space station has now in the science program that we really couldn't do before is we have the ability to measure a lot more over a long duration of the parameters of the physiology. So not just taking some samples at the beginning and the end of the mission or storing a few, but actually getting some of the data on board. And data that wouldn't be good if you tried to save samples for 6 months and bring them down. So we're going to learn a lot more about what's going on with our physiology, our nutrition, our bone loss, and the effects of different nutritions on what causes the things to happen in the immune system, and so that's a big part of what we're doing up here.
Well, Garrett, we wish you a safe trip home, and Greg, we wish you a safe stay on the space station. Thanks to both of you, and Godspeed. NBC News out.
Thank you very much for joining us.
And this is Gil Gross at KGO in San Francisco. You hear me?
We have you loud and clear from the International Space Station.
Terrific. Okay, we're rolling. Let me start with Greg. It's been a couple of months since we talked, since the people that you grew up with in San Jose could hear you. You're just a little while from the hatch closing. What are you feeling right now?
Good to talk to you again too, and it's going to be an interesting moment. I think that's kind of a moment that we've all been anticipating with some sadness. We've had a great time up here. The time's gone extremely fast. We've accomplished so much. This module we're in, Kibo module, is it's a beautiful, brand new module with a lot of capability, and it seems too early for everybody to go, but I think it'll be interesting because it'll change from 10 people up here, very busy, doing a lot of work, to 3 of us, for a long haul, and I'm sure I'll go through a little bit of an adaptation to that new stage. So Garrett's been coaching me a little bit on what to expect.
My next question, Garrett, what have you told Greg about what his next 6 months will be like?
Boy, I told him just to hold on tight. We've been talking about a lot of things. It's awfully quick. We've been awfully busy while the shuttle's been here. We've had a lot of work to do, and they do schedule time for us to do what's called handover, where I try to pass on all the lessons learned over the 3 months I've been here to Greg. But that's barely enough time. There's so much that you just can't prepare for. It's kind of on-the-job training. But Greg picked this stuff up really fast. He's a really smart guy. He graduated from Caltech and everything, and so I think he's going to do great.
Greg, you not only graduated from Caltech, you helped develop some of the International Space Station procedures. Is this going to be interesting for you to see how well these work? Because if they're not, those 2 cosmonauts are going to razz you a lot.
Well, actually, a lot of us actually have done that, where we as crew, we kind of have a final look at procedures and make sure we can understand them. So we kind of have the final feedback, as much as possible as they're developed, to make sure they're going to be understandable and workable on board. But actually, the coolest thing that I've been involved in was actually the 3D display that you see on NASA TV or you see in the control center, and that's up here running. And so I'm pretty excited about that because I worked on that for a long time, and I see it running on the laptops. And that, anyway, there's a lot of us who've contributed in many, many different ways to all kinds of parts here, and the thousands of people, and on the ground in different control centers that are working on this. It's a lot of work and a lot of people, and everybody should be really proud of what we've done here.
Garrett, then Greg, tell me what a day is like. The only thing that we have anything like it here on Earth is South Pole Station after the C-130 leaves you there for months in the dark. The shuttle is going to leave you, Greg, but you're going to have 15 sunrises and sunsets a day. What's it like adjusting the time up there?
Well, the day is actually very structured and very busy. We have scheduling software that runs on a computer, and it tells you minute to minute what to do. In fact, I found myself at times thinking, okay, I have 2 minutes right now. What can I do with it? That's how regimented the day is. And we keep busy with basically keeping this place running. It takes a lot of work and a lot of maintenance just to keep all the equipment up here. This is an enormous station, and the care and feeding of it is just pretty time-consuming. We also do a lot of physical exercise because that's how we keep our muscles and bones healthy. And then at the end of the day, after dinner, you might have a little time to yourself when you could look out the window and communicate with friends and family, and that's really the precious time.
Greg, besides the pride of the people of San Jose from the high school that no longer exists and can't put anything in the trophy case, one of the other communities that is showing a great deal of pride in what you're doing up there is the Jewish community. I know that you brought some bagels up. Also a couple of mezuzahs, scripture that is supposed to go by a doorpost. And I guess my final question is, are you putting them up? How do you do it? Velcro? Where are they going to go?
Actually, this is a handover between one Jewish astronaut and another, and so we're pretty excited about that. And I did bring some bagels. My family in Montreal makes some of the most famous bagels in Canada, and I brought some up, and we shared them on the first few nights, and that was great. And it's true, I got a few mezuzahs for some friends that I'm carrying. I can't install those anywhere. I can't put those up. We can't decorate. We can't decorate the space station as we like, but I have them. They're basically, we're able to carry certain things for organizations that we worked with, our school that we went to, close friends and family. We have a small couple kilogram up mass that we can bring for gifts and things like that. And so I've got a couple of mezuzahs for close friends and colleagues.
Well, Garrett, we're ready to welcome you back to Earth. Greg, again, people who went to school with you in San Jose and everybody in the Bay Area is wishing you the best of luck. And we hope to talk to you back on terra firma in 6 months. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Discovery Station, this is Fox News Radio. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear from the International Space Station.
Thank you for taking time from your rare off-duty time to talk to us. This is Holly Hickman, Fox News Radio. And Garrett, this is your last interview, I guess, before you and your Russian colleagues say goodbye or baka to the 7 Discovery astronauts. I know it's a sappy question. I'm not as funny as your buddy Stephen Colbert, but how has this experience changed you? And you just gave the most romantic answer I think I've ever heard about what you missed most on Earth.
Thanks, Holly. Let's see, boy, I'm not sure where to begin to answer that. But as far as what's changed me, my fundamental outlook hasn't changed. I don't mean to be rain on anybody's parade, but when I was kind of thinking that when I first saw the Earth out the window, that it might be a real transcendental moment, and I got to tell you that it was beautiful. I mean, I've never tired of looking at the Earth, but it was similar to what I've seen from high altitude airplanes and stuff like that. So I didn't have a sudden urge to hold all my crew members' hands and sing Kumbaya, which I thought maybe might happen to me. But it's been an incredible experience, and it's changed me, I guess, in other ways. Made me appreciate more what I've left behind, kind of like what you just were referencing.
I've heard now that the space station described as a giant engineering lab that helps us figure out how to build in space. And you, of course, are a mechanical engineer. You've got a PhD in that. Greg has a PhD in aeronautics, and I have a cat, so I can't really have a conversation with you guys. But what is the significance for you in terms of the context of, Gemini and Apollo and now space station, and then after that, colonies on the moon and going on to Mars? How does space station fit into that in your view?
taking care of the cat might be an even bigger challenge. But the space station plays an important role. It's been in a couple different ways. First, from an engineering point of view, it's unprecedented, and it's been described as the most impressive engineering accomplishment of all time, and certainly of our times. The fact that all these incredibly complicated spacecraft were assembled in different countries and then met up for the first time in space and came together and formed this massive structure, which is something straight out of a science fiction movie, is really impressive. But it's also an incredible political accomplishment. The fact that we've held this international partnership together, and for so long, it's the most complex and ambitious international partnership ever undertaken in peacetime. And so that's in and of itself is important. And thirdly, from a scientific point of view, we're continuing to learn how to operate and live and stay healthy in space for long periods of time. And when the first person steps foot on Mars and when we go back to the moon, what we learn here will be incredibly valuable.
Right. And Garrett, I wanted to give you a chance to give a shout-out to your sister, Lainey Reisman. I understand she works with International Youth Violence Prevention, and I've talked to a lot of young kids who are really inspired by, a few months ago, Dexter, which was, of course, part of, some of the spacewalks that were done out there to install that robot out there, or just the idea of space in general. Do you think it's far-fetched to say that encouraging education and showing at-risk youth the wonder of what's out there maybe might abate some of the desire to join gangs?
Wow, that's a very interesting point, and thanks for bringing that up. My sister's been working with developing countries for so long. I think she's seen more of the Earth than I have out the window, and she's been very active in this arena. And I sure hope that what we're doing up here is a model for the future, and gives some hope to all the kids out there, because it's very easy, especially when you watch some of the evening news and see some of the things going on around the world, to take a very pessimistic view of where our society is heading. And I believe that the alternative is represented by what we're doing up here. We are working together from all different countries. It's really is like something out of one of Greg's Star Trek episodes. We've got a Russian, we've got a Japanese astronaut on board, and we're living together. And you got to believe that if you have an optimistic view of where our society is heading, then this is the first steps. There may be baby steps, but we're going to be living on other planets and living amongst the stars. It's just a matter of when.
And Greg, to you, I know both of you have spent time at the bottom of the Atlantic living in the Aquarius habitat. This is your first time up in space. I can imagine the similarities of floating around up there and swimming around down on the bottom of the planet. But as a science officer, this experience, I would imagine, is like going into a candy store now that Kibo is being installed and you've got the porch coming next year. Talk to us a little bit about how Space Station helps us to find solutions to some of Earth's most pressing problems and what you most look forward to.
Well, like you said, this Kibo module that came up, it has a lot of future capability that's really going to contribute a lot to what the space station can do. And just to echo kind of something Garrett said too, is this is an amazing facility up here. It's something that really struck me when I arrived, and I went into the Russian module, in a module where you can see forward and see the shuttle attached and see the truss and the solar arrays and later on, as we added the Kibo module, you could see the Kibo module, sticking out the side, and it's really a massive facility with with 4 docking ports, and they're all currently occupied by visiting spacecraft, and it's really impressive. I mean, and when you look down, how fast it's moving across the sky, it's just hard to believe that we did this. It's a real accomplishment, and the purpose of these modules is for us to do scientific experiments that cover all kinds of areas, from material science to biology, to Earth. We're doing Earth observations and physics, fluids, and human physiology. And a lot of the human physiology ones, a lot of these have applications on Earth for systems that we use in all our machines, and then also for just human physiology, things, afflictions that we have that are similar to what happens to our body in space. We're with sort of like being in a bed rest study in a sense. And so a lot of the experiments that we do will have an impact on our ability to solve medical problems back on Earth. But our purpose, of course, is to figure out how to live and work out here so that we can stay longer and go further and continue to explore.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for your great work, both of you. We look forward to seeing you land on Saturday, Garrett and Greg. Have fun up there. This is Holly Hickman, Fox News Radio.
Great to talk to you again, Holly. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you, NBC News, KGO Radio, and Fox News Radio station. We're now resuming normal space-to-ground communications.
Okay. Actually, several minutes remain when we will close the hatch between station and Discovery. And it was a great 10 days when we actually performed probably one of the biggest points when we built the station. We docked Module Gem, the biggest module on the station, and these guys perform wonderful EVAs. And my crew is proud to be participant and owner and holder of this station, and we're glad to work with you guys, and thank you for this great 10 days.
Thank you, Sergey. It was great to arrive 10 days ago, and you know, it was a really exciting mission. We appreciate all the help we got from the crew of Expedition 17. I mean, it was really a joint effort with Sergey, Oleg, Garrett, and Taz. We appreciate everything. Now time to close the hatches shortly and bring Garrett home and leave Greg behind. So I'm going to let those guys say a few words.
I can hardly believe this time has come. It's been an amazing adventure. I think all of us are very excited about the work that we've done, and it's amazing how the station has changed in this time. You know, with 10 people up here going all over the place and doing this work, and thousands of others on the ground making it all possible, it's amazing to see what we can do. And Mark, you know, I wanted to say that you know, a lot of us were rookies before this flight, and you know, it's been a real honor and a real privilege to be part of the shuttle crew. And you know, Mark not only has made sure that this mission was very successful, but he's also somehow guided all us rookies through everything and got us to this point. So he's been a great mentor to all of us. And that goes for Mike, too. Mike is the other flown person here before the shuttle launched, and yeah, and his guidance and friendship has been really valuable to all of us, and thank you, Mike. But you know, it was really great when we arrived after the beginning of this amazing adventure. It was just amazing to be greeted by great friends that we already knew at the hatch. That was really amazing. And you know, Garrett, you know, has been a great host for us. He's really helped us with everything, and especially me, teaching me the ins and outs of everything on the station. I've really appreciated that very much. Garrett has done an amazing job of taking care of this side of the space station, along with Sergey and Oleg. Everything's in really great shape, and he's done a great job for NASA and for all the international partners. So it's really sad to see you guys go for me. But I'm looking forward to the adventure ahead with Sergey and Oleg, getting the GEM up and running and getting the science program started and renewing the science on the U.S. module and in Columbus. And so I'm looking forward to that very much.
Thanks, Greg. It's a huge responsibility. I mean, taking care of this tremendous national asset and the national assets of our international partners. And if that ever feels like a tremendous burden, just remember this advice I have for you, which is with great responsibility also comes great power. So that's nice. And but you're going to do a fantastic job. You've took to it from a running start. You've been doing absolutely fantastic, and you have some great crewmates to help you out too. So you're going to do great. You know, for me, this is a very satisfying moment right now, one I was looking forward to for a long time, because we've managed to get to this point through STS-123, Expedition 16, Expedition 17, and now STS-124. It's not that it was by far, it was not a perfect performance by myself, but I managed not to, by any means, but I managed not to break anything really expensive. And I'm leaving now with the station in good hands and with a tremendous feeling of satisfaction. And but it's not really important all the stuff that happened while I was here.
Shuttle and station have moved into a point of their orbit where it will briefly be out of video and audio contact with them, but they will be moving back into contact in just a moment.
And we only have space to ground until we get KU back, so be about another 90 seconds.
Copy that, Chris. And really, that's all I wanted to say. Just like
we're together. And even when we had a failure, you have always been very humorous about it, and that was wonderful, and thank you for that. I have many good moments together with you. I have had many, and I am proud that that you are acquainted with the U.S. culture. We watched Animal House and Harold and Kumar. This is classical American culture, as well as some music by Bon Jovi, for example. That was wonderful. And the final month was a little difficult because of the toilet failure and the need to prepare for the orbiter. But even then, despite all that, we were able to have a good time, remain good friends, and maintain our excellent relationship. And I wish you, to conclude, creative success. That's all I had to say. Have a good trip. See you later.